wasn't when we started. But welcome to Happy Hour, fellas. Cheers.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers.
We're hanging out with John, Al, and Jeff, right? Mike is missing, I'll say. Canadian punk rockers, Chuck Spadina. Thanks for taking the time to hang out, fellas. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Have you guys been having a good holiday season? Happy New Year. It's still early. It's still early enough in January to say that, I guess, right?
Yeah, if you say that next week, we get to punch you in the gut.
Yeah, there's a cutoff there, and you don't realize until you question when you hear it that, did I just get Happy New Year in February? What the hell? You guys do anything special for the holidays?
I just relaxed, man. Spent some time with family. It was cold. Stayed inside. It was nice.
Pajamas and day drinking.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's Christmas.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
I got to rent a cottage with my family and go sledding out in the mountains, so it was actually quite nice.
So I know, well, you guys are in Red Deer, right? Right between Alberta and Calgary. What's the mountain area for you then up that way?
We can get there in about an hour and a half to 2 hour drive. So we're actually in a very flat area, kind of prairie-ish in Alberta, but we can get to the mountains pretty quick. So it's kind of a nice spot to be.
Nice. Yeah, my girlfriend and I stayed in this year. She was a little sick, and we're too old to go out at this point anyway. Like, just the idea of being out until midnight at a giant party does not sound appealing anymore. So she got rest. I drank, played video games after ordering pizza and wings. So everyone was satisfied.
Good times.
But now it's time to sadly deal with all those things I said in December. That sounds like a 2023 problem. So kind of paying for that a little bit now.
You'll figure it out.
Hear that.
Actually, I was playing video games right before this. I got sucked into this game. I don't know if you guys are gamers or not at all.
I'm not.
No?
I play Mario Kart.
Oh, that's great. No, I was playing this one game that I was putting off for months called Elden Ring, and my buddy was trying to get me to play. I'm like, I'm probably not going to play that. And then I started, and now it's a full-blown addiction. I'm like, I got to put the controller down and get ready.
Jeff won't quit playing games with my heart.
Oh.
So, you guys in a brewery? Where are you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at a Red Deer Brewery, Sawback. This is our local hangout and our jam.
Nice. So what are you guys sipping on there?
I got a hazy blonde ale, which is going to be followed by a West Coast IPA.
I like that you're prepared. You got the backup beer.
Al likes to have a flight when he goes to the brewery.
A flight of full-size glasses.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. But you other guys, you having a drink?
Yeah, well, it's happy hour, right?
Yeah.
That's the time. What do you drink?
What have you got?
So there's a local brewery here called the Warbler Brewery. I picked up a 4-pack. It's all bird themed. Dissimulation IPA. I actually did a podcast interview a while ago with the owner and brewer. So anybody that sees this and wants to learn about the Warbler, that was a while ago. I think that was episode 44. Awesome guy, great beers. And this one's 7%, and it's my 4th beer of the night. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, right on.
7%. That's strong for an American.
Yeah,
beer,
that is
man.
strong
for
That's a
American
big
beer.
step. For you guys.
I didn't. Yeah. You get drunk off one beer in America?
I'm way past the point that this affects me. I put in the work so that I can enjoy these for a much longer time. I'll just say that. No,
Yeah, it's
there
conditioning.
it is conditioning, exercise. It's like Beer Fest when they get ready for training for the big beer drinking competition.
Yeah.
And no, man, there's so many different craft options around. When I go to like a beverage center, I'll grab something I haven't tried. I'm like, that looks cool. I know I like that brewery. It never dawns on me to look at the percentage because I've brought home like 10% beers before. I said, oh shit. I'm like, this isn't a day drinking beer.
It's called wine.
Do you guys have particular types of beers that you enjoy? Or
Favorite
this is your
beers?
yeah, this is your favorite hangout?
This spot we're here, it's well, it's good. We got a lot. The microbrew thing has like really grown in the last 10 years. And so Red Deer's accrued a pretty good handful of them now, and they're all good. Like I like to go to all of them when I have a nice pint.
Yep.
Yeah, Sawback's good. Red Heart's good out of Red Deer. Field and Forge is good. There's a bunch of good ones around here.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to Ryan from Old Wives about the craft beer places that were springing up in Edmonton there. I'm like, and sounds like it's growing just as much there as it is here, because they're all over here in upstate New York.
How about that Old Wives record? It's killer, yeah? Did you listen to it?
Yeah, man. I after a couple spins, I couldn't stop listening to it. In particular, shit, I forgot the name of my two favorite songs already because I was busy listening. Actually, before we started, I was listening to some 90s R&B. But I was jamming to you guys earlier at work today, and we'll talk about the record because I really got into it. It's what I really enjoyed. It reminds me of the early 90s type stuff that really got me into punk. It's just a fun, fast record that I enjoy, punk record, and I enjoy it. But you guys are the third Canadian band in a row I've talked to, so at this point, I just assume I'm huge in Western Canada.
Yeah.
Because I had a fun time hanging out with the Trashed Ambulance guys, and of course,
They're all right.
Ryan from Old Wives. And I've only gotten to, I have, of course, known you guys just as long, so not long. Only discovering you guys in the last maybe a month ago or so, once I first found out about Trashed Ambulance, because I saw, posts with you guys playing together and stuff like that. So I don't know much about the band, so I'm looking forward to getting to know some more. Yeah, I had a great time hanging out with those guys. Sorry, if I keep looking to the side, it's just because I have some notes. It's not that I'm distracted.
If I'm looking to the sides, I'm waiting for my cab.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Were you guys born and raised in the Red Deer area? Are you all from that area, or are you from other parts of Canada?
I grew up around Calgary.
Okay.
I'm Jeff. I'm the drummer in the band. Hi, nice to meet y'all.
That's true. I'm not sure of the instruments you guys play.
Yeah, I like to play the sticks, and it's want to always be in a punk rock band. So this is my midlife crisis playing out in real time. It's awesome. Sorry. I grew up in Calgary, and then transplanted myself out to the mountains, which are only 2 hours away in Field, BC, and had a nice little childhood growing up there, and then decided to come back close to Calgary in a place called Red Deer, which you're talking to all us from now.
Nice. What about you other guys?
Me?
Yeah.
So I'm Al. I play lead guitar in the band. And, our screen went dim, so it's.
Okay.
So it's
now we can't hear you and we can't see you.
I'm
hoping that
yelling.
the phone's not gonna die here. Yeah, do the ears.
Here.
Yeah.
It'll be an abrupt end to happy hour in that case.
I'm Al. I play lead guitar and Chuck Spadina and backup vocals. And I grew up on Vancouver Island. You probably know Vancouver.
Oh yeah.
Over there on the other coast from you guys.
Yep.
So it's an island just off the coast of Vancouver called Vancouver Island. Grew up there, moved to Alberta about 10 years ago, and have been here ever since.
I didn't realize there was a Vancouver Island off the coast.
It's even better than Vancouver.
It's Canada's secret.
Yeah, it's God's country.
Is it as rainy there as I've always heard? I've never been to Vancouver.
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, that's the thing about like where we live is, there's a lot of cold here. People always complain about the cold or whatever, but it'll be cold here, but it'll be beautiful blue skies most of the winter, except for the odd day when it's cloudy and it snows. But if you go over to the West Coast, Vancouver, and on the island and that or whatever, it's essentially 4 or 5 months of heavy, thick gray clouds. And it can be pretty depressing, but all that rain is why it's so beautiful there, right? It's kind of a trade-off.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah.
I don't mind the cold so much. It's the wind that freaking kills me when it's cold, man. Is it super windy there when it's cold usually, or?
No, not too bad. There's always a little bit of a breeze because you're coastal, right?
Yeah.
You know, like I'm sure the same with New York because you're on the Atlantic, you get ocean breeze, but it's not particularly windy. I actually don't live in Red Deer anymore. I have a long distance relationship with my bandmates.
Oh, all right.
So I moved. I'm about 4 hours from here, and I live in a town that's extremely windy, and I hate it.
I didn't know.
It's brutal, man.
Oh.
Yeah, it's worse than Lethbridge. Over to you, Johnny. Johnny Rocket, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get the pleasure of singing and playing the guitar for Chuck Spadina, and I'm originally from back your way. I'm from Nova Scotia, Cape Breton Island,
Oh, nice.
a little town called North Sydney, and that's where I started off and moved to Alberta years ago.
I want to make it to all the major Canadian cities at some point. I can only check Montreal off the list so far. Even as a hockey fan, which I am, and I'm going to assume you guys are. You're Canadian.
Montreal's a good choice.
Yeah, because that's only about a 4-hour drive, so that's doable. And then, of course, next on my list is Toronto or Ottawa because they're not much farther. But if I ever make it out to the west and get to Edmonton and Calgary, or in between in the Red Deer area, what do I need to see or check out?
Chuck Spadina
You want to see
jam.
Chuck Spadina?
You want to come down to the jam space?
After I go to a concert with you guys and Trashed Ambulance and Old Wives, all playing the same show.
Insert plug here.
Yeah. Oh, and you also want to come to Sawback Brewing.
Sawback. Okay, I'll put that on the list.
They have an amazing assortment of delicious beers that if you are ever in the Red Deer area, you need to come and try.
We wouldn't bow to any sponsor, but
Nice Wayne's World call out. I appreciate that. Like I said,
But I don't know what would be coming out this way. What would be good to see, Jeff?
other than an NHL game or something in the city.
Well, the Rocky Mountains.
Come see them. Yeah, come see the beautiful scenery you have and all the 2 awesome hockey teams we have.
Mhm.
And go find some live music wherever it's happening in your area. That's all I gotta say.
I live in a little town called Sylvan Lake outside of Red Deer, and Sylvan Lake's beautiful. It's a great little touristy town in Alberta that's kind of just outside of Red Deer. It's a great spot too.
Nice.
I'm sure there's a Science World, one of those cities.
Yes.
Edmonton or Calgary must have a Science World. Science Worlds are always cool. So I'm going to say Chuck Spadina, Sawback Brewing, Science World.
Science World.
Science World.
Oh,
Okay. I'll make sure I do.
I'm going to get.
Oh no. So now I'm live and I don't know if their phone died. So let's take a look here. This is not awkward for me at all as I am streaming live and their phone cut out. So I'm going to
You get him again?
Where should
Yo.
I go? The Rocky Mountains?
Man, my phone totally died. I'm super sorry. One sec.
Punk rock band.
What do I do?
Lift that.
Hey,
Hang
dude,
on a sec here. I'll get it. Here, buddy.
I like this. This is
Yeah.
good. Happy.
Jeff, tell him what happened with the igloos.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. So there was a problem with the Canadian igloos, and there was too many in the vicinity of the Wi-Fi. And then if you get too many of them together, it throws off the Wi-Fi, so our phone shut off. So our bad, but you know, it's really our fault for our bad information system that we set up here. So I'm just going to set this back up on.
There we go. Get in there.
All right, okay, there we go.
Very entertaining stuff.
Then we just got
Almost in it. There we go.
plug it back in.
Now it's even
Plug it
more
back in.
entertaining. Don't plug it in before it shuts off again.
Oh, it died.
No, it didn't.
I did.
Hey, man.
I'm telling you.
Okay,
Those igloos
It's we were not prepared for live video, man. Like you can edit this, right? This isn't live. Oh wait,
Oh, it's
no, it
it's
totally
live.
says
Oh, it's totally
it
live.
totally says
Awesome.
live in the top left-hand
Yep.
corner.
Here, buddy. I'll set her up. No talking.
I think it makes it better.
Hey, do you agree that this is probably, you know, it probably helps, right? A little bit of fun, you know.
Fun.
Hey
Right?
man, I'm enjoying it.
Hey, let's have a little sip of beer. One sec, I'm going to turn you over to Al.
If you unplug
Hey, I'm going to try and set you up again here.
All right.
without unplugging. Oh no!
Yeah. See-
hold it in. Hold it in.
It-
Don't do
it
it. Now, I bet he can't see us at all.
And I can see you.
There we go. There we go.
John
God.
kind of has to lean to his right. I can only see his
No,
shoulder. There, okay.
We're all
there
going to
we
make a quick prayer that the phone doesn't unplug and nothing goes wrong this time.
Fingers
go. It would be more awkward if I couldn't turn off my camera and I was just sitting here staring into a live stream.
Did you entertain your audience at least while we were gone?
I tried. I ran out of stuff to say and then just turned off the camera and went silent.
No. Well, that's
So
what editing's for.
New York is so what is it? What just you and Howard Stern?
Yeah, what's the competition? Just the Bob,
Yeah.
just Baba Booey?
Yeah,
or
are you
what?
number 2 or 3?
You know what's funny is so I live in upstate New York, right out just outside of Albany. So we're on the eastern part of New York, like kind of in the middle, along the border almost. I could drive to Vermont and Massachusetts in both in under an hour. And the city is about a 3-hour train ride. But I lived in South Carolina for a while, and when I would tell people I was from New York, they just automatically assumed the city. Pretty much anybody outside of New York, if you say you're from New York, they assume the city. Like, no, there's a whole giant state above that island.
Yeah, you're pretty much living on the top of the Empire State Building if you live in New York.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a fun place to visit. I don't know if I could handle living there.
Are you a big Stern fan? You like Howard? Or is that your
I do
jam
like
or what?
Stern. No, I like Howard. I don't have Sirius Radio or whatever he's on, but before he switched over to that, I would listen to him in the mornings.
Yeah,
I used to listen to him years ago, and then I just like fell off.
yeah, I'm a big Howard fan. Love Howard.
I'll occasionally check out a segment when I see people posting about it and stuff, or as a guest that I enjoy, but I still enjoy him. His movie was great, Private Parts, back when that came out, and had to be like in the
Private
mid-90s.
Parts is killer.
Mm-hmm. I came to New York in 2016 to go see Hamilton with my daughter.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, that was actually a really rad experience. I got to actually see the culture of the city and go see a bunch of plays and theaters, and had a great time there. I love the city personally. Like, you kind of get some stereotypes about how people are kind of like just hustle and bustle and like, gotta like get where they're going, but like everybody's happy to talk to you or say hi, and it's not like a lot of the stereotypes that some people have.
Hey,
No,
you want
man,
to see a Canadian do it? Sorry.
See a Canadian do what?
A New Yorker impression.
100%.
Hey, I'm walking over here, eh?
Emphasizing
Walking over
the
here.
emphasizing the A is what got me. That's what it did it. No, but I love going down to the city to visit for a day or two. I've gone to a couple Ranger games or some good concerts down that way and parties and stuff like that. But I can't imagine being there or living in that tight space.
So they catch a lot of punk rock in New York or what?
Who else? Well, I've gone to the city for some good shows. We get a lot of good stuff in Albany, actually.
Nice.
Who'd I just see? I went to Less Than Jake and Bowling for Soup played a show. Newfound Glory was
Rudy.
just here with 4 Years Strong.
You like the Bronx?
No, this is in Albany where I am.
No, the band, the Bronx, the punk band.
Oh, no, I don't know them.
You never heard them?
I may have seen the
Check 'em
name.
out.
It sounds familiar.
Killer band, man. The Bronx, yeah.
But actually, Andrew McMahon's coming to town in March. That just got announced today, so I want to try to grab a ticket for that. Actually, Jimmy Eat World, I just saw them 2 months ago. They were just here. So we get a lot of good shows up this way, which is awesome. But let's talk about Chuck Spadina, because the name cracks me up, especially after I Googled it for the first time.
You didn't Google it, did you?
I did Google Chuck Spadina. I do at least a little preparation before I'm about to talk to complete strangers like this.
Yeah, so it's exactly what you Googled, man. Like I'm a big Bill and Ted fan and a big Keanu Reeves fan, so I brought this idea to the guys about calling the band Chuck Spadina over this failed name that Keanu had for Hollywood, and they kind of liked the idea and got a kick out of it too, and we kind of ran with it from that point for being the band name. So
All the agents he spoke to when he first moved to his unfamous Keanu, they all told him his name was too exotic, I think, for Hollywood.
Yeah, I was reading some of the articles. I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah. So, and then John suggested it, and the problem is when you have four dudes trying to have some kind of democracy, everybody's coming up with names and trying to get four dudes to agree on a name. It was just like, it was futile.
It had to be the most random thing.
Yeah, at that name, at that point, I was really like, I would have probably just taken anything because we just could not decide on the name.
Well, it's also
So we're
between
like-
that and probably trying to find something that's not already being used, I'm sure.
There's also that.
Yeah.
It's like a Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was funny after I saw that. I'm like, all right, this has to be what they got the name from. But I do a movie podcast with some friends, and this week we're watching the first and second John Wick movies. I'm like, this is perfect timing.
Is this the perfect time to say that I haven't seen the John Wick movies?
It
Oh,
is.
man, you haven't seen John Wick?
No, I haven't seen him either.
Yeah.
Well, you too.
I haven't seen anything. Nothing. Zero John Wick.
I love John Wick, man. I thought they were
And I'm
all
in a
great.
band named after them.
Oh man.
His undying passion for that dog is just, you know, he just loves that fucking dog, man.
Man,
I
that
can
one,
get on board with that.
it's
Dog.
essentially his dead wife leaves him a puppy as like a grief present, and then somebody breaks in and murders the puppy.
Whoa,
And
whoa!
then he goes up-
Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
Spoiler.
We haven't seen it.
Listen, I don't care. It's you're past the spoiler alert time frame.
Typical
And then-
New York.
And then he goes on just a murderous rampage. That's so all the enjoyments in the murderous rampage.
Yeah,
The dog thing hurt extra hard because I have a beagle, so I just kind of skipped that few minutes there.
Yeah, it used to be the wife. Now it's the dog.
Dude, people get more upset over seeing animals
I know.
than people.
saying.
I mean, I don't disagree.
Do you have a dog?
I do. Her name is Zoe, and she's a Beagle Australian Shepherd mix.
Bring her on.
Where's Zoe?
She's asleep in the other room.
Damn it!
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the album?
Dude, I really enjoyed the album. It was a fun, just fast paced punk music, and it reminded me of kind of like the punk roots I grabbed onto when I started getting into the music. And there's one song in particular. I wrote it down. Simon Hates Sandals. And I was really getting like an MXPX, old school MXPX vibe, actually, musically from that.
Good call. I like that.
But just the tune change and the beat change, it reminded me of some early MXPX stuff. But so, how did you guys end up getting into punk music and playing music in general?
Myself, I mean, it started for me back in like 1994, 1995 in high school playing with some buddies. We had a band called Johnny Rocket and the Space Cadets, and then we went from Johnny Rocket and the Space Cadets to a band called Putz. And then I was on kind of hiatus for a long time about playing punk, and then kind of got back into playing it about probably 7 or 8 years ago and got playing punk again. But it's been going on for me since the mid 90s. That's just the age I grew up in it. And we had a lot of great bands when I was a kid that would come to Nova Scotia and play gigs. So like, Gob and Propagandhi and the Planet Smashers and Choke and Belvedere and a lot of great acts came and, really inspired and kind of kept the scene growing in Nova Scotia. And you just loved punk music ever since,
What about you, Al?
Oh, me. Very similar story. I think probably for all of us 90s. I'm marginally older than Johnny, not by a lot, but
5 years is a lot.
5 years is a lot.
5 years is a lot.
Okay, yeah. So, but yeah, like 90, 91, someone showed me some punk rock, and I listened like metal and stuff, and I was kind of always into like the music that was for outcasts, and stuff like that. But I hadn't like metal and that kind of stuff. And when punk rock came along, I was like, holy shit, this is can I say shit?
Oh yeah, go for it.
So holy shit.
My
yeah,
only
and-
rule when I do these things is just no deep dives into politics. Language I don't care about, but anything goes.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, no, I heard it, and somebody showed me a Minor Threat. And I was
nice.
like, what is this? And it's just like, it was just energy. I was just cool music. I was just like, this is really awesome. And then it was like instantly, I just like, hey, punk, like, oh, you hear about punk and you hear people called punks and whatever like that, but never really gave it much thought until I started hearing that, like that music. And then, yeah, I just couldn't get enough of it, listen to more and more and more. And, but I mean, I like, same as Johnny, same as Jeff, right? Like grew up, at that fundamental age, that happened for like all of us, like in the 90s. And so, So I like all kinds of punk, older stuff. I like stuff from 2000s, 2010s and everything like that. But like for me, and I think for these guys too, like that 90s was kind of just where my heart's at. And so Yeah, and I always have listened to it, but I got a bit more of an open mind for music as I got older, but always had this kind of backbone of punk. And then, yeah, and then here we are in our older age now, and yeah, just decided to like, hey guys, let's just pretend like we're like 18 again and start this punk band with kind of a 90s skate punk kind of feel to it. And that's my story, Jeff.
I actually know nothing about punk. They recruited me from a Christian rock band, and
You said you were not
they
gonna.
they really liked my chops. And I know we weren't going to talk about it, but I mean, we should be honest with the people.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. We should be honest. Fucking Mormon.
No more Sundays for Jeff. No more Sundays.
Yeah, Jeff doesn't. He doesn't play punk on Sundays.
That's a good punk band name, actually. You should go with that one.
What's that? So what is it?
No more Sundays for Jeff.
No more Sundays for Jeff.
So, like, were you guys? I don't know what it's like. I mean, I got into punk like the '90s too, thanks to an older brother of mine that was into metal, and then kind of showed me punk. So I kind of got on the bandwagon with early Blink, Bad Religion, Pennywise, Lagwagon. A lot of the punk compilations is what I was using to get into stuff, and it just kind of took off for me from there. And it's just always
That's
been.
what got me into a lot of like
Sort of.
punk rock, the compilations. Like, as
Mhm.
I started off with like, I was like, oh, Green Day, this is like something crazy. It's really fast music. Like, what are we gonna do with this? And then my buddy's like, no, dude, like there's this other band called No Effects and Melancholy and Lagwagon.
Oh, fucking Melancholy.
Like, you should
Yeah,
listen
man.
to these guys. And it's just like, oh, okay. And then that changed my world.
You
No
see how
use
good
for
it
an.
can get?
No Use for a Name was big for me too back
One
then.
of my favorites.
Yeah,
one of my
great band,
favorites.
man.
Tony
Yeah.
Sly. I love that guy.
Cheers,
Tony
Tony.
Sly.
One for Tony.
One for Tony.
Is it so I don't know what it's like to again grow up in Canada. Were you exposed to a lot of American acts young? Were they easy to find, or is it more like Canadian punk bands and local
No,
music
Like
growing up
no use
there?
for a name.
Yeah, it was.
Were they
I mean, we were listening to anything we could get our hands on. Like Jeff said about the compilation stuff. For me, it was like when you got those first like Punkorama Volume 1 through 3, and you know the Survival of the Fattest discs that
Yep.
Fat Records were putting out like back in the '90s. That really kind of opened up your world to like American, you know, kind of American and that Southern California punk sound and different things that were going on there. You know.
Yeah, you'd hear 10 bands on one album, and you're like, I like 3 or 4 of these, so I'm gonna go get their albums.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think to answer your question, a lot of American, but it's kind of just like that. It's just how it is, right? Like it's always
Mhm.
limited. It's like Canada-wise, we just don't have. There's just not as many.
Do you
not
guys
as
have-
not as many of that caliber? You know what I mean? Like I grew up listening to a lot of stuff. Like
Did have a nice scene here.
did
You
have
got
a great
tattoo.
scene. You got a great scene.
You got a tattoo of a Canadian punk band on you.
I do.
I'll tell you, God, too, man. That's hard.
It's
Nice.
probably backwards on the. Oh no, it's the right
No,
way.
I can read it perfectly.
Yeah, man.
It
You,
does the
have you
math.
listened to Gob before? Do you like Gob?
I do like Gob. I forget about them for like huge chunks of time, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they'll pop into my head again. I'm like, oh shit! I didn't realize they were. Are they Canadian? I didn't realize that.
Oh, they sure
Yeah.
are. Yeah, I hung out. I hung around those guys growing
Oh,
up.
did you? Yeah, I did. I don't know. I don't really know anything about them. Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're Canadian, and I mean, and like, well, lots of good ones. And DOA, SNFU, probably one of my favorite bands
Okay.
out of
yeah, I know.
Edmonton, and they're like fantastic. If you don't know who SNFU,
Yeah.
check them, man.
I've seen the name. I know I've seen the name.
Yeah.
Another Joe's another great Canadian punk band from back in the '90s.
Mhm.
Their P Against the Wind record when I was a kid, that was like through the roof. That was a huge album for me. That was a great one. Eat at Bernie's.
Nice.
Try Pig.
Oh, Try
Try Pig. Rest in peace, Ken.
Yeah, 'cause
Oh,
Growing
here,
up-
what's one?
growing up, I don't think there were a lot of Canadian bands I was aware of. I got big into Our Lady Peace, who I still enjoy from time to time. But
Early
it
Peace
was-
are great, man. I hate them.
yeah.
I grew up on them. So fuck you. You want to fight?
Do you I mean, I
Sorry,
haven't
I
listened.
don't like them.
I haven't listened to any of their albums since the Gravity time frame. What was that, like early 2000s, mid 2000 ish?
Who's
So
that?
I haven't. Gravity was the last album of theirs I listened to, which might have been around 2005, that mid 2000 area. So I don't know what they've put out afterwards. I know they've put out albums, but I haven't really
For
followed
me, it
them.
was like the earlier the better. Like it kind of like, you know, their first album was great, and then their second album was really good, and then you kind of lost a little track of them. If you're a Canadian, I guess. Maybe not all Canadians. I don't want to speak for every Canadian, but yeah, those were the iconic songs that everybody remembers, right? The Navi, the Star Seeds, you know, all those songs. They're actually
Yeah,
really good songs. Great team.
Yeah, because Superman's
But,
Dead still gets a lot of alternative play
Yeah,
around
so
here.
great song, right? And you can't deny it. Like that was a good band. We're super stoked on it. But yeah, when it comes to music, it feels so like globalized these days, where you can just kind of go anywhere and just look for genres, and then you don't even know where it's coming from anymore, right? But as far as Canadian music, yeah, like of course, Our Lady Peace is huge, but I mean that's just one of many thousands we grew up with.
Oh,
But, definitely, I'll fight Al on it. That's a band that I actually can say I like.
Man, that's cool. I'm a big Alanis Morissette fan. Jagged
Oh,
Little
yeah, of
Pill.
course.
Hell of a record.
Al.
That-
Jagged
that
Little
was
Pill's
awesome.
all right, man. I like
Jagged
Jagged
Little-
Little. I like Jagged Little Pill's all right, man. I don't mind
that was a great
Okay,
album.
thank God.
Yeah. But what's
was-
his
yeah,
brain
that was
made
really
of fucking show?
So let's
We
talk
got
a
a
little bit
hater,
about.
Got a hater.
Oh man, let's talk a little bit about Rough Year, your album. Speaking of Canadian bands, just came out back in November, right? So this is freshly released upon the world. 11 songs.
Mhm.
So how'd you guys come up with settle on the name Rough Year for your debut album?
Mike, actually, our bass player who couldn't make it tonight, that was one of his suggestions. I'm like, yeah, it has been a rough year. It's been a lot of things that we haven't been dealing with in normal life. So we're just like, but you know what? Throughout it all, we got together and we made a punk rock band, and we made the best of that rough year. And we just thought we'd say, fuck it, you know, rough year. Let's make the best of it.
When you were like we were getting together when it was like absolutely nobody from different households can get together in one room, and
Yep.
4 of us from 4 different households, we'd covertly get together and write songs. But it was a rough year. We started during COVID. It's one of the reasons we just played our first show last week or whatever. We've got a full album. We've got music, the traction on the album. Everything's going really good with the album for us. And we've only played one show, and it was because for most of our career, you couldn't play a show.
Yeah.
So we just practiced and wrote.
Yeah, our first show was almost our CD release party. We missed it by one show.
Yeah.
The artwork caught my eye, of course, like right away too, because that also, I love it, and it reminds me of like that 90s, some of that 90s crazy stuff I would see.
Props to Excellence on that one.
Yeah, that was the guy we found on that. I don't know if you're familiar with the app Fiverr, but you can go on there and kind of like get artists and stuff like that to do artwork for you, whatever else. So there was this gentleman, X Must, that had some really cool 90s vibe kind of artwork on there, and I presented it to the guys, and he gave us a quote for the album cover, and we shot him an idea of, you know, the guy on the coach and everything kind of falling apart around him, and that's what he drew for us, and it turned out great. We were super happy with what he put out, you know.
Yeah, it looks
He did.
awesome.
Yeah. A few pieces for us.
They did the singles too.
Yeah, we did. We had 3 singles
Okay.
we released a week apart, right?
Yeah.
I think a week apart before we dropped the album.
Mhm.
And we got 3 other additional art pieces other than the album cover that you see on Rough Year.
But this is a good like lesson to like any bands out there. Like what we did is we just contracted like an independent artist who like was like feeling our vibe, and we're like, yeah, that's what we want. So it's like, go out there, find that guy, get him for the right, him or her or they, and for the right price, and they'll do you up a fine job, and it'll be it's the best value you can get instead of like spending too much on an artist, you know, that might not do what you want them to do.
Yeah, everything is done on like a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
For the record, like we were lucky enough to have a gentleman in Red Deer here, Jesse Rhodes, take us into his studio, Deer City Records, and record the record for us. And he did it on a shoestring budget for us because we didn't have a lot of cash to kick in for doing the record. And you know, everything from the recording to the mixing to the mastering to the artwork, it was all, you know,
it was a pooling together of the musical community, and it worked really good. And you know, everybody deserves props for all the work they've done.
That's awesome. Yeah, I kind of did the same thing with the podcast logo when I had an idea. I just put it out there on Twitter that I was looking for graphic designers, and I got a surprisingly huge response. I'm like, this is a lot easier than, and probably cheaper than trying to hire a, you know, a quote unquote professional for some company.
Just talk to people, put it out there. Like
so much awesome work out there. Yeah.
Yeah, look for it because they're out there. Those people that are out there that want to help, that have a lot of talent, right? So you don't have to have somebody with a name. You have to have somebody that's willing to want to help and do the right work.
Yeah. So what's the song writing process like for you guys when you were writing these songs?
John is a songwriting music factory, and I'm just going to give a little preamble before I let him start here because basically he's like, you know, the thing in Optimus Prime that like made him live forever. Like, oh, that's Chuck Spadina. Like that's the band right there. He's like the heart and soul of the band. So he's just like, what he does is he sends us a cell phone video of like, hey guys, I was just sitting in my garage and thinking this would be a cool song. He's like, this is awesome. And then we're like, yeah, that is awesome. That is super awesome. And then we're like, okay, well, let's all get together and take that little acoustic song and like just make it a punk rock song, which honestly, making songs in a punk rock isn't that hard if you've got the heart and the feel to do it. So when he comes to the table, we put it together and it's just like, yeah, thanks, John. And you write lyrics too?
On the spot. Yeah, Johnny writes pretty much for almost all of the songs. Johnny comes forward with basic structure song, and he brings the song. It'll be from beginning to end, and it'll have all lyrics and a basic structure, and then I'm going to give Mike a compliment because he's not here. He's our bass player. He couldn't make it out tonight, but he is the one guy in the band that's much younger than us, and he's actually has the same love for the punk rock that we do, and it's this cool little generational gap where like he likes to come in and like really fill in the blanks of that bass playing that we need from that feel of that era. And he just has that feel already and he gets it. He's got some jams on the bass.
He's got jams and it's amazing.
Awesome.
And then once we've got that basic structure, Jeff will come up with some wizardry on the thing. And then Jeff is also, it's not just the drums. It's not just the drums for Jeff because like, and I play lead guitar. I play lead guitar and the harmony parts, right? So all the other cool little accentuations and the solos and stuff is like what I bring to it, to the song that Johnny's written. You know what I mean? But Jeff, in another way, he's not just on the drums because Jeff and I, and well, all of us really think very similarly as far as like how the music's, what we like to hear. You know, that '90s shit that we all really like. You know, and Jeff and I'll play, you know, I'll come and be like, hey guys, here's what I kind of came up with as a part for this song of Johnny's, you know, and Jeff will be like, oh man, you know what you should do there is one of just, you know what I mean? And almost all the cases, I agree with him and I do it.
I'm a drummer manager.
He's a drummer manager.
I'm a drummer Karen, I should say.
Drummer Karen.
Actually, I think it'd be cooler if you just did the octave up here instead of down here. That'd be great.
But he is more often than not, he is right. And I totally agree with him. And sometimes he'll find sounds that I want, but I'm not getting it. And then we'll do it. And then we'll both be like, oh yeah, let's do that.
The other fun part about the record that I got to give Jeff credit for is the gang vocals part of it too, because like all those fucking oohs and ahs that you hear and different little backup vocals that you hear, Jeff's heart is like totally in that. We always got him mic'd up when we're doing band practice and stuff, and he throws out those old oohs and ahs like you get from that, like back in the day, like the screeching weasel kind of stuff that you'd have going on in the background, and those gang vocals really kind of help build the songs a lot, I think, too. You know,
Wrote the came up the idea for the backups on LA on like 6 different songs. We're all doing the backups that Jeff basically was like, hey, what something we heard him sing in the mic, and we're like, yeah, that's what we're gonna do for that song.
Can you guys talk about me more, but flattering me more?
Go ahead, keep talking about how awesome I am.
Yeah.
But anyways, but yeah,
Stop.
but right, hey Jeff, right? Tell me I'm wrong. We all Johnny writes the songs.
Yeah,
Their songs, you know what I mean? But they're Chuck Spadina songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody's got their input. Mike's bass parts are totally unique.
And Mike writes songs, and Al writes songs.
Yeah.
Like everybody writes songs.
and let's not leave out the big bag of pot in my garage. That's fucking.
Well, that writes the most
quintessential
songs.
in
Yeah,
fucking songwriting.
that writes all the songs.
The bag of pot and Johnny's run. He'll send a
That's
video.
the inspiration. Yes.
Yeah.
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 I do have to. I think my favorite song is Dump Truck. This is
Which one?
Dump Truck.
Dump truck.
Oh,
All right.
so speaking of us all write songs, I wrote that song. Thank you.
Did you? Okay. Nice.
Yeah. But we wrote it, but
Al likes
No,
to
I
take
get
them
it.
off.
No, man.
I put the words on that one.
That
Johnny
song,
wrote
I
the
think,
words
gets me
for
the
that
most
one.
pumped
I
up.
actually happened to write the drums on that song. I don't know.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of tin whistle I play on there as well. You can barely hear it, but
Yeah.
there's a little bit of tin
Needs
whistle.
credit for that.
You like Dump Truck? Oh, I'm so pumped you like Dump Truck.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, that was one of my.
my.
That one's one of my favorites. I mentioned this earlier. I really felt like Simon Hates Sandals. You guys have some crazy names.
You know, Johnny's got a great story about Simon Hates Sandals.
Yeah, so I play in this other another garage punk band called The Primitive Sound, and our lead singer is this guy Simon. He's a Brit, and he's just a sweetheart of a guy. He's a great friend, but he fucking hates everything. Like he hates everything. Like, so if I show up, I'm always wearing jorts and flip flops at practice, like that. I'm just in my cozies, you know, and I got my jorts and flip flops, and he just gives me a hard time over my jorts. He hates my fucking flip flops. He hates Van Halen. He hates the Beatles.
Does he hate the song Simon hates Sandals?
Yeah, does he hate the song?
He totally hates the song.
This is one of my very good friends.
Because if he liked it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
We love Simon though. He's a sweetheart.
That's a
He's
great point.
Yeah. And we honestly don't know why Simon hates sandals. I don't know.
Yeah, but like he wears Vans. He'll wear a pair of Vans to the fucking beach, and you're like, Simon, like just put on some flip flops, bro. It's okay.
You know
Take the
what's
Vans
funny?
off.
Like, I haven't met anybody that's able to calmly justify their hatred of sandals. If they don't like them, they hate them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know
He hates
anybody
them.
that really hates sandals other than Simon, who I've never met.
Yeah, he hates them, man. He is dead set against sandals. True story.
That's funny. But and like I said, I don't just the beat of that song and the tone and the quick switches and stuff just reminded me of early MXPX, and I think that was one of the first major things that drew me into the album. And I felt like I heard traces of that in a couple other songs. So I feel like I hear a lot of that 90s influence you guys have talked about growing up and really getting into. The bridge and breakdown in Enemy, just that that's awesome. That was it's a crazy like 45 seconds, almost 1 minute, where it's just all over the place. Like it almost changes songs.
Yeah, it's kind of got a neat vibe on that one too. Yeah, on Enemy.
Oh yeah. On the bridge breaks and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I love parts with like 7 different songs with 7 different parts. Sometimes.
We try to keep you guessing a little, eh?
Yeah, we don't want. We were like, okay, so we're gonna do the same 3 things every time, except we've got to make something different.
Yeah. It's harder than you know.
It's harder than you
I was
know.
like, is there a huge challenge in trying to get something like that together and have it gel when you're just kind of
Not for us, man.
Not when
Shit
you have the
goes
right
together,
chemistry. And that's what I would like to give a PSA out for right now. Is if you have a good chemistry with the band, just like you're vibing good and you're feeling what's going on. So like get together with those people and make music and don't worry about anything else. Just make that music. It'll be good.
Do you
Big
guys have
MXPX fan though, man. That Life in General record when it first came out with like Move to Bremerton and all those tunes on it. I was a big fan of that MXPX record. I remember getting that one and was loving that album.
Oh yeah,
we do Chick Magnet.
yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah, because I discovered MXPX. It was either right around Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo. I think that's when I got into them, and then I kind of backtracked to Life in General. But so favorite songs on the album. Favorite song. Do you guys have one?
What's that?
From favorite song on your album.
My favorite song, our individual favorite song.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jeff.
Well, you stole my heart with Dump Truck, so actually that's probably one of my favorites, like quietly. But if I had to say like my favorite, I'd say Dump Truck.
He actually just said it last week. Remember when
I did say it last
on our
week.
little band chat? He's like, "You guys, I was listening to the album because I hadn't been."
That's how you know I'm not lying.
Yeah, it's
There you go.
true. Yeah. Oh man.
You got to pick one out.
Yeah, I know.
Good question, by the way.
Yeah, it is a good question. You know, okay, so I'm not gonna it's gonna sound like I'm gonna cop out, and then I'm gonna not cop out. So my soundbite cop out is that like it changes. Like every time I chuck it on to give it a listen,
That's
you
a
know,
cop out.
yeah, I'll be like, oh, this time, you know, I'll be like,
No,
oh man,
I
that
mean,
song sounds really good.
I get it. I get that. Every time I listen to one of my favorite albums, I'm like, I feel like my favorite song has changed on the album.
Right,
So-
yeah.
You're musically fluid.
Yeah. But if you gotta make like, man, like, and it's like,
Well,
I'm like trying to pick. I'm trying to not pick one of the ones I wrote.
You're on live air right now. What do you want?
I'm gonna say like, you know, man, honestly, like, not gonna be okay. Just a simple, and it's short, it's quick. It's like get in, rock, get out.
That's a good pick, man.
Cool solo on it.
That's fun. That's one of the ones I remember most. Actually, when I think of the album, that's one of the songs that pops in my head most.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it, and it's got a kind of a almost like coming out of Misfits origin.
It's got a driving
thing.
like,
Yeah, and it's just straightforward. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that this week. Yeah,
this week.
Yeah.
This week.
I like Simon Hates Sandals, man. That's been my fave. That was my jam of 2022. Yeah. I love that one.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
And it's about a friend of ours, so that's cool.
There you go. I have a hunch as to what the song "Psychedelic Drugs" might be about.
You'd be very wrong, sir.
Which one?
Oh, really? Psychedelic drugs?
No, you're probably right on
you're
the
spot
nose.
on.
They're just joking.
What's he talking about?
It's about mushrooms.
That and the way actually the song's awesome. It's a great song, and the fucking end, just the jam out at the end. It's a great way to end the song. It's a great way to end the album. I really picking it up at the end there.
Yes.
Cool.
But what do you guys think was the toughest song to put together for the album?
Toughest song.
They're all pretty easy, man. There's not a. I don't set the difficulty bar super high.
Yeah, Johnny's the difficulty part.
My other band says I always just play 3 chords of the truth, so that's they're not too tough, man.
It's not, like if you had to rank it though, like,
Well, pick one then. Gun to your head.
oh man, I'm gonna say most difficult song.
Difficult song.
I'll say challenging, toughest, challenging.
You're not so sure of yourself. Which one? Which song?
Enemy, man.
Okay,
Enemy.
Enemy.
Because
I'll give them that.
Enemy's like a lot of this.
lot of jacking around.
I get it.
Yeah. When you're 47, you're like your joints, like it's.
I think he
Not
just
as-
aged himself.
I can't edit it. Sorry. I mean,
Don't worry.
I'm
we're all living
39
up
and I
to
feel like I'm
crisis-
50. So
midlife crisis, except for a bass player that's not here right now.
Yeah, Mike's the only one
Yeah.
probably like not doing this as a midlife crisis, pretending he's young again. He's just young
But
still.
But I'm sad Mike's not here because he's fun and he's the life of the band because he is the young guy, right? Because he's only like 25 and we're like 20 years older kind of thing. Like some of us could be his dad. And he brings so much life to it because he loves the energy of the band. He joins the energy of the band. He gets it. It's great. And yeah. Too bad he couldn't make it out.
Also, the most responsible and astute of the four of us.
Oh my goodness, he is the brains of the band.
And we're like, hey, how did that song go? Like that we
I don't remember.
He's like, he just gets his little book out.
And he's like, well, actually, it was just exactly like this, and it's like, fuck, yeah, you're right.
Just like look to Mike.
Like he knows the lyrics, and I don't know him. And
I know. He's just like, hey, remember that song that you wrote? And he's like, no. And then he's like, well, this is what you wrote. And then John's like, yeah, I still don't remember.
I know you guys haven't played a lot of shows yet, right? Just
we're just getting off the ground right now.
Yep. Just because I like to ask this to bands and musicians, do you have a pre-show ritual before you would play or anything like that?
I don't think we've established one yet.
We played one show, so far the pre-show ritual is setting up gear.
I have a better question. What do you think our pre-show ritual should be, and then maybe that's what will start it?
I assume chugging a beer.
That's kind of old school. We can come up with something more creative than that, can't we?
I mean, it's good
I
enough
think we
for the
should
Foo
watch
Fighters.
that 30 seconds where the phone died on this interview.
Oh my god,
you
that'd be great. We'll be like the start of the show will be like, okay, we're Chuck Spadina. And then the phone falls down, and then it was like, that's about right.
The lights cut out, and then that plays on a projector.
Yeah,
I love that.
You guys are just talking, and the phone tips, and it just.
Yeah, no. You started off with like the Dolby like sound thing, like it's going to be a really cool movie, and then that clip comes on, and then we kick into our band.
See, this is the great thing about punk rock.
We're just thinking it out right now.
I was unprepared to try to help predict or come up with pre-show rituals. This is.
Well, why not? That's what art is, right? Just a bunch of ideas put together.
Pre-show. I don't know. I've drawn a blank.
I know. How about crippling anxiety is my pre-show ritual?
Yeah, like my heart's in my throat for about 2.5 hours.
I like to speed up my heartbeat and dry my mouth out.
I mean, you talk about classic or old school with just chugging a beer. I think that's probably even more so. So what do you guys have in store for 2023? You guys have any shows coming up? And
we got a couple of things in the works. We're gonna play a gig on the 17th of February with Trashed Ambulance and the Off Sailors in Red Deer here.
Nice.
And then
it's gonna be a CD release party too. We just got CDs just came in, so
nice. Oh, I did see that post. Yeah, they look good.
We got no money for vinyl, man, so CDs are where it's at. The vinyl quote was crazy. It was crazy.
What? It was crazy?
The vinyl quote was crazy. For our budget, it was crazy.
So if there's any like aspiring vinyl makers out there that want to make one for us.
Not a lot of selection out there,
Yeah, so we got that gig in February on the 17th, and then we're opening for a band out of BC called Let's Go. They're coming out here on a tour in May, and then we're working on trying to get placement on a couple of festivals over the summer. There's a festival at Right Ranch we're going to try to play. There's another festival we're going to try to do. What's the name of it?
Sonar.
So we're hoping we can get on Sonar. That'd be great. That's one down in High River. That's a great punk festival that we're going to try to play if they'll have us. We'll see if we get an invite. What else?
It doesn't really matter about the what ifs.
Yeah, there's a bunch of a bunch of maybes out there. There's another great festival down in Medicine Hat called the Alternative Waves Music Festival that we're trying to get on that bill, and another one in Calgary called Sled Mountain, I think it's called. We're going to try to do.
Nice.
So we'll see what happens.
We got that invite for Iron Society Motorcycle Club and Big Hearts Charity Society or whatever they are. Do this charity thing every year in late July, and they asked us to come in to charity gig, and so it's
It's for a good cause. I can't remember
Awesome.
what it's for, but I assure you. And then yeah, that'd be a cool gig. And then whatever they usually pay some money. I play in another band. We played with them last year or whatever. Did okay. And
Awesome.
and it's fun, man. It's like, and it's mostly like motorcycle guys, motorcycle clubs and whatever. And they played for like 300 bikers, and they just love it.
Funner than you think.
But yeah,
Like, we'll take anything. We'll play bar mitzvahs. We'll play the brisk. Like,
well, don't make us sound desperate.
we'll do
Children's
anything. You can call us, please, please.
Please just
And
let
Chuck
us play at your
please
event.
let us play some show.
That was the brisk idea is interesting.
Yeah,
That
We're
brisk
hoping to be
idea is
big enough
interesting. Yeah.
Sawback on camera that Sawback's going to invite us to play the brewery.
They
So,
probably
Sawback.
won't.
yeah. There's a Wendy's opening
To
down the
stop
street. We asked them if we could play the opening of the Wendy's. Just kidding.
They turned us down.
Yeah, they just turned us down.
Too many
Um,
GM.
Yeah.
I think we're wrapping up happy hour, but I'd like to close out with what are you guys currently listening to?
What have we been listening to?
What are
What
you
are we
guys?
listening
Yeah. What
Like-
are you guys currently
Sorry,
listening
we're all
to?
deaf musicians.
Yeah.
We can hear what the phone's saying right now.
I mean, I can
anyway,
I can bring
what
the
are we
microphone
listening
right
to?
up to my mouth here.
Like what? Like currently, like the type of
Yeah.
music that we're all listening.
No,
Oh,
just what if
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm big into Belvedere out of Calgary's great. Choke's great. I mentioned the Bronx Steer earlier. They got a killer album out.
yeah, I'll have to check that out.
That's some of the stuff that I've been listening to lately. Big fan of the Bronx.
Been listening to like crazy amount. Listening to Teenage Bottle Rocket album, not the new one, but it was like the new one last year, 2 years ago when I was listening to a lot of that Teenage Bottle Rocket album. What's it called? I can't remember. The one with Ted Banger on it there, or whatever.
Oh, the pink one.
The pink one. My friend, my buddy Ned, he's in a like a reggae band on Vancouver Island called the Phonosonics. Listen to them
Okay.
all the time.
Nice.
What else am I listening to a lot of?
Mikey's band Intense
Man.
Reality. Our bass player Mike, his band Intense Reality. They got some good stuff.
Oh, cool.
well, you took the words out of my mouth.
Those are the four bands.
About one of the only bands I've been listening
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
other than
Yeah.
podcasts. But I'm one of those musicians that's just like, I just want to listen to talk radio all the time. I don't know.
I've
Yeah, I do.
I've met a lot of musicians that say that.
Yeah, I am. I am old too, and like just the fucking radio. Sometimes, you know what I mean. Like I don't really care as long as there's music on. I'm a blue
Yep.
collar punk rocker now, and I don't. Yeah, I'm just looking at my Spotify here. I'm just gonna see what is my
Hey, cheat sheet.
well, Rough Years on there. Oh, you know what I've been listening to a lot of.
Chuck
I've been
Spadina.
listening to a lot of Trashed Ambulance because I kind of just met those guys.
Their album's killer.
Yeah.
Have you listened to
They're-
the Trash record?
Yeah,
It's great.
their new album.
It is good.
Future Considerations is
Yep.
just
Check
absolutely
it out if you have.
deadly. Yeah.
Nope, never heard of them.
Shiv Shanks.
Next.
Shiv Shanks is another fella. He's a local guy out of Red Deer or whatever. I listen to a lot of local music and friends and
Yeah,
stuff
we're
like
a
that.
lot of local guys.
And not
here.
just because I want to support, like just because I literally have friends that are just making really fucking good music.
Oh yeah.
Shiv Shanks out of Red Deer.
Okay.
Fantastic. He's got 4 albums on Spotify. It's not punk rock. It's kind of swamp blues.
Yeah, Swamp Blues.
It's just it's like real dirty and
Dirty,
like
gritty blues.
I really think you should check out Shiv Shanks. Yeah,
I'll check that out. Shift Shanks.
I listen to a lot of that. Anyways, Jeff, you got anything else there?
John just stole Intense Reality out of my mouth. And the upcoming band from Red Deer, they're doing great. Honestly, like I said, a lot of talk radio and stuff. These guys send me playlists that we're being part of, like on a daily, and I start listening to those, and I'm like, oh, these are all the songs I love, right? So like, it just gives me my music fill for the day. So I don't really have a lot of new music that I'm listening to. Just a lot of the local stuff that's around, and everybody should be listening to the most local musicians because that's where the love is, and that's where it all starts.
100%.
Slayer.
22 out of Montreal. They put out a great record last year. It's killer.
Called 2022.
Yeah, 22 is the name of the band.
Oh, 22.
Yeah, 22. They're really good. And the Morons out of Calgary are great. I think I'm saying it right.
No, it's the Maroons.
Is it the Maroons? The Maroons or the Morons?
Fuck,
Anyway, they're
Chuck
fucking
Spadina.
great.
Hey boys, if we're saying it wrong, we're sorry. And
Sorry,
correct
I know.
us so we do it
They
right.
got this
I
little
feel like
symbol
saying-
on the O, and I don't know how to pronounce it.
I feel like
They're real
saying
good.
the morons out of Calgary could go multiple different.
Yeah, Maroons. Maroons.
It's a good punk rock
That's-
band name either way.
Maroons. I think it's Maroons.
Morons.
I'm sure
Oh, with your New York accent?
we'll be corrected.
I don't know. I've never heard of them, so I got to take your word for it.
We're big Morons
It's
fans.
spelled like morons, but the second O has like the 2 dots over it, and I'm almost
Oh, okay.
positive it's Maroons.
Well,
So
speaking
they're
of
being
which, we are
fancy.
the Moron brothers.
Yeah, Maroon.
Maroon. You got to roll the
Hermanos,
tongue.
hermanos, Maroons. Hey, it's happy hour.
It's happy.
It is.
What do you
it
want?
is.
Okay, man.
Yeah, I think that's going to wrap this up, fellas. So thanks to, I appreciate this. It's been super fun. I'm glad we
Thanks
got
for
to take
having
those
us on,
difficulties
man.
out of
Sorry
the
about
way
the
early.
technical difficulties.
Yeah, thanks for dealing with a bunch of technical retards, but
I,
love you. Appreciate you having us on.
Just
The
showing
important
up
thing is-
for a video interview with like 8% on your phone.
New stuff.
Hey, the important thing is we got those issues out of the way early. It's been a solid 30-ish minutes. So thanks to anyone out there that of course joined us for happy hour. My beer is empty, so I'm gonna have one more before bed. That's for sure. Well, you guys are 2 hours behind me, so I'm getting ready for bed. I got to work tomorrow. But
Yeah.
any bands, musicians, local breweries interested in virtual happy hours or being on the podcast, feel free to reach out to Stories from a Bar social media pages or email at storiesfab@gmail.com. If you'd like, we can set something up. Be sure to go listen to Chuck Spadina if you're not doing it already. Also, be sure to like and follow the social media pages. Anything else you guys want to throw in?
Can I just say, by the way, we got to get this out. So we just were like Chuck Spadina, and we have found that everybody that we run into who has not heard us say Chuck Spadina says Chuck Spadina. You probably did. I bet you looked at it. You said Chuck Spadina.
You thought it.
You thought
No,
Chuck
seriously,
Spadina.
not once. I always said Spadina, even in my head.
I think
when
we
first
actually
read it.
don't really care how you say it.
We really don't.
I did. I mean, was there? What was the intention when you first heard the name? I've never heard Keanu Reeves talk about it. So was it Spadina? Was it Spadina?
It's his dirty secret.
Yeah,
Okay.
he says Spadina. He says Spadina.
He
We're,
says
we're
Spadina.
totally saying it wrong. Whatever.
Oh.
He's saying it wrong. He just doesn't know he's saying
Okay.
it wrong.
Follow Chuck
I don't
Spadina
Bill
or
and Ted.
Spadina.
I just
The
want
same
to tell
page.
the 8 million people that listen to you in New York.
I mean, that's
You
a,
go
that's
ahead
a
and say
low,
it how
that's
you
a
like.
low estimate.
Just
but
say it
yes,
however you like.
that's a low estimate. So yes, make sure it's right.
Thanks for having us, brother.
Cheers, fellas. And finally, like, follow, subscribe to All Things Stories from a Bar if you're not doing it already. And you can find the podcast on all major podcast platforms. And because it's still not too late to say this, Happy New Year. So until next happy hour, everyone out there, cheers.
Peace.
I'm going to